All right. Now you can talk about art shows.
So,
Oh,
Oscar, those are samples that they order from a print shop
well,
or
they
they buy off the wall.
no. The way I do it is I take the orders from the images that I have, and then I ship them a brand new one to the customer. I used to sell once upon a time. I used to sell off the wall, but I start having really weird situations about they're always going to get damaged through the year, like uh with all the traveling. Like right now, I'm doing 5 shows in a row, and they're in the van, and then you driving, even if you're only driving 300, 400 miles round trip, they're going to get beat up inside the van no matter what you do. So I will ship you a new one. Also, uh, I got people doing really weird stuff. I have people that didn't believe me until I did a show in Sarasota. Somebody went to the metal print and started knocking, like I'm knocking the door to one of the prints and putting dent on it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm.
My friends told them, "What the fuck are you doing?" And they're going like, "I can't believe that actually happens to you." And I said, "Like I've been telling you for the last 3 years, people come and do the most dumb things in the planet." So I don't sell off the wall. I sell off the wall, but it's as it is. Any scratches, any dent,
It's as
it's,
is.
it's as it is.
Do you ever make them limited edition?
They're all limited edition of 250 or the image. So it doesn't matter what size, they're all part of the edition. Janine, do you have a better weekend than me? I hope so because you have a better weekend than me.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You have to make more money than me.
Did you make zero?
No,
Okay. I made booth fee. I made $440.
you did better than me.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh my God. What happened? Now I know I have two friends, Oscar, who were
Mm.
there. Two friends, good friends, who have done that show for like decades. Okay. Paul Fletcher, I don't know if you know him. He does
Yeah,
encaustic. You,
I
you
know
know
him.
him?
Paul is a friend. Yeah,
Okay. And Chuck Wimmer on the corner with
yeah,
digital art. Okay.
yeah.
Those two guys I exhibit with here in this area. They're both from Cleveland area. I exhibit with them. And at the end of the show on Sunday, I went up to Chuck and I said, Chuck, you got to tell me what happened, what's going on, because I know he sold a lot. I know he had a good show. I don't know how much he stole, but I know he had a decent show. And Paul had nothing to take home. Okay, his double booth was like almost empty. And so I said to Chuck, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Is it my booth? Is it me? Are people reacting negatively to my personality? What is it? And he said, I have come away here with my best show ever, and I have come away here with zero sales, not one penny. So he's like, you don't know, you can't predict it. It could be on any number of factors, just like we've talked about in the Zoom. You
Mm.
don't, I mean it, but it's just totally irrational. Those people had money. I mean, you look at how they were dressed. You look at the location, you look at these 300 boutiques as they were advertising it and galleries there. People are buying art from the galleries that are there. And I mean, we saw as we were coming in, we saw a Rolls Royce getting takeout from a Pizza Hut. No, seriously.
That's that's funny.
Seriously. Seriously, and that was just like one of many, many, many instances that you could list like that. Paul told Bernie, my husband, that he had a guy buy a sculpture from him that was big. Paul goes to drive it up there, and the guy told him he bought the lot where his house is, which is ginormous. He said he bought it, he tore down, like he bought three houses right next to each other, tore them all down, and then built this one, huge house on those three properties. I mean, sorry.
That's me.
I mean, these people have unbelievable amounts of money that they don't know what to do with.
Yeah, so
So
wait a second. What's wrong with getting takeout pizza from Pizza Hut?
nothing but in a Rolls Royce. Take your beater car. I mean, take your beater car to Pizza Hut. I don't
That
know.
was the beat up car.
None of the above.
Right.
Deliver.
Yeah, that was the beater.
Delivery. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Drive,
Yeah, maybe one of your servants is driving it. I don't know, I don't know.
No,
But
I think there was a bad show for. It was a hit and miss with a lot of people in the show. I did really poorly. Parker did better than me, but not by that much. Uh, the painter in front of me, I think, is also 0 out of the show. No, Armando, the one that was next to the other one next to him.
I didn't see that.
I got a lot of, and I have like a 3 or 4 people that I couldn't close the deal. I don't know if they was pulling my leg or whatever they was trying to do, but there was a kid that wanted to give me cash, but I was not going to sell the piece for half a price. I'm sorry, I will
Right.
not do that.
Right.
And,
Right. You can't, I mean, you have talked about this, Oscar.
yeah,
You can't, undervalue your work. You can't give it away for nothing.
yeah.
You have some self-respect, and it just makes the market
Does?
worse. You do have to have some self-respect, and it makes the market worse if people are coming in and selling their stuff for peanuts. People can't live, you can't have that.
I
So
just don't. I don't know if it's just like this year with photography in general, but I know that most photographers are struggling this year.
are
That's
doing
the
what? Are doing what?
struggling. They really,
Struggling.
yeah. Most of them are having a really, really hard year. So I don't know if it's just a median thing. I was hoping it was just a Florida thing, but at the same token, I have 2 ridiculous shows in Florida. So I cannot tell you. I don't know. I really don't know. I got to tell you this for sure because the last 2 years has always been like a. Last year I saw 140 by 60 at the show, and I think 330 by 45. And this year I only saw 211 by 14 matte prints. That's the only thing that I saw, and I cannot understand. So next year, I already told Karen this show is so. The floor for that show is so low that I'd rather go to Rittenhouse and take my chances over there.
Was this Birmingham?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Rittenhouse, at least the floor for me is $2,000, $3,000, and I know that that's what it costs to do that show, but I need to have some kind of sense. What is the bare minimum you're going to make? And this, you need to know if this show at least is going to cover expensive.
Yeah.
And you gotta be going to a show.
There's no guarantee.
There's some shows that you have an idea how much money the bare minimum you're going to walk out of the show, because people will buy small prints. They will buy something from you, and you might do a show like I did Dark with Atlanta. I know that I'm going to walk out of there with at least $1,500 because That's what I sell in prints year after years. The only thing that makes different one show for another one if I sell something big at the show, which has not been happening in the last 2 years, but I always hit the 1,500 to $2,000 in small prints and dartboard Atlanta. So
Well, well,
if
like,
you need to have an idea, I don't know what's going on specifically, but I, I from what I heard, Brookside, it was on the fence with a lot of people onto Sunday, and then Sunday became a really good show for a lot of people, and that was a week ago. So I really don't know, but it's been an interesting year, and more, the only thing that I get out of this, I really need to start doing just the big shows, and because the small shows is too much high risk. Of really established good show that run really well, and not so much as run really well, because one thing that I know, and this is because I'm in the board, is that they have the news channels, they advertise the crap out of it in the news, they did banners, they did social media, they did everything that they could. Everybody in the freaking town knew that the show was coming. They advertising this is the only time that the show is going to happen this year. Come and see the wonderful artists and blah blah blah. Saturday morning, they got Channel Fox News was there. The people came and gave me the card from the and the contact information from them for me to talk to them later on because they like my work. And I don't know. So I know that the people around me, Humberto did really well. Uh, Robin did really just did like you, just expenses. Uh, uh, I forgot the name.
well, like,
Stefan did really good also. It's a painter in the end. Uh, I think that Kristen Perkins did really good also. Kim, the other painter, did pretty good. Uh, so I think it was more our medium than anything else. I know the part, like I said, Parker, I think they just did expensive for the show also.
well, I
So
mean, I didn't even do expenses. I just got booth fee. That's it. And the
yeah.
other, what you're talking about closing the deal, that's the thing. I had people come in and I had mostly 24 by 36s hanging. I
Mhm.
had four 18 by no five 18 by 24s and one 42 by 57. And I had interest in 42 by 57, a lot of interest. And I think it's a pretty decent image. So, but like I had one couple and the woman comes in and she says, "I like this." And the husband is like, a little bit less enthusiastic than she is, but still on board. And he's like, and she starts talking about where they would put it. And she's talking about this credenza that they have, and he says, would it fit over there? And she's like, it's 90 inches long or something, it's huge. It would easily fit up there, and she's like, I like that. And I just don't know how to push them over the edge, because I don't want to be too pushy, because I was too pushy with another woman who was interested in another piece that I had, and she came back with her husband to show it to her, and I was like, "Oh, you're back," and I mean, I just, maybe I'm doing it wrong, that
All you can do is they're not going to buy it right then. You can say, "Can I collect, can I get your email? Would it be okay to follow up at a later time?" I mean, that's like the most you could do. You can't force people.
no, you
No,
can't.
yeah.
No, you can't.
But if you have their contact information, at least that's something.
That's a good point.
Well, so 2 years ago, when Marianne first got to Spoleto here locally, we had a couple who came by, looked at a painting, really liked it, but they weren't really sure if it was going to fit. And so they live an hour away from Charleston to Seabrook Island. And Mary said, "Well, we'll bring it out. Why don't we just bring it out and see, and we'll see if it works." And it worked. And I mean, that was a $6,300 painting.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
mean,
did, I did, I did
I,
have
that may
one.
not work. That may not work for everybody, but it worked for us. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a
But
real.
that's what you're supposed to do, really. That's what I was going to say. Like, I got a couple people that told me they had to measures for the house in Southern Bay, talking about that show. So I, you know, I really don't know, to be honest with you. I walk out of there really saying like people ask me what else they could couple of people asked me what else they could have done, and they said like they did everything they could, but the only I keep saying is they, my opinion, the shows in general need to do more outreach, uh, have more input in the community to make them, and that's supposed to be the partner from the guild only gets 50% because they just run the show. The other 50% is the art center, and the art center was supposed to do the community engagement for them. And I could be wrong about that, but that's how it seems to be. And I don't know how much they really encourage to do for the city. I know that when they, for the reason why there's a lot of friction and and less problems in Ann Arbor with the guild section is because the guild gets a lot of money back to Ann Arbor. And I mean a lot of money.
And
So
Wait a minute.
sales
What does that
tax, I mean,
mean?
what
What does that mean? Who writes, somebody writes a check to somebody, to the city? Who writes the check and who gets the check? Who gets the money?
that's why they get sponsors, Barry, and they get
No,
sponsors.
no, no, no. I'm you're talking in generalities. I want to know who writes the check and who, you said the city gets money. Who gives them the money and what do they get? You don't have
Well,
to give me dollars.
you
Just tell me.
the city gets, the city gets, the event comes in there, right? We said that we use the hotels. We bring people to the restaurants.
Okay, you're talking, wait, 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 wait. So you're talking about, what you're really talking about is generating income. Yes, that is true. That has always been the case with Ann Arbor. Which is kind of funny because, Ann Arbor has the attitude like, oh, they're here for 4 days. I'm talking about people that live there. I mean, people that live there actually go out of town for a few, for the 4 days to get away from the madness. But the reality is, I ran a store there, so I know it from that end. Um, uh, Businesses do probably 25 to 30% of their total business for the year during those 4 days,
Oh,
more than during the holidays. And what you
wow.
and if you're on the ball, you can get rid of all your old stuff that you can't get rid of. Um, and that's really important because even if it's worthless, even if it's a shirt for $2, you get that money back. If you just have the shirt, it's dead money. So that's what that is about. Now, one of the aspects of that. Another aspect is, yes, all the hotels are full, all the restaurants are full. You know, all,
and the sales tax base,
that's
which goes
right.
to the
I was
city.
getting to that. And so what happens is they pay sales tax to the state, and also yeah, and the restaurants make money. They pay their employees, so their employees can go out and spend money. It's an economic boom, and actually, the federal government did a study of how many, for X amount of people, like let's say 10,000 people, it generates X amount of dollars. And Ann Arbor, but Ann Arbor's different. Ann Arbor's always been about that. It's always been about the art merchants. It's not an art fair. It's a merchant thing that has artists there to get people to come there to buy their stuff and make money for the city. Now, the reason why it works is people come to buy artwork too, more so than anything. And in the beginning, it was just two streets, and every artist was museum quality. I know this because when I was 15 years old, I used to go there 15, 16. So I know the quality and 18 and 20. I know that the quality was really great. Well, it's not exactly like that anymore. But on the other hand, if you're looking for something good, you can find it because there are really good people there. So there's an attraction to that.
So
Um,
who is going to that fair? Like in other words,
the
uh,
surrounding people come from the surrounding 6 or 7 states of Michigan.
okay,
That would be
yeah.
Ohio. Look at there used to be a bus from there were bus loads of people that would come from Cleveland and uh,
Mhm.
um, they'd take the bus. Actually, it was well, I know about the Jewish bus. All the Jews get on the bus. Those are the buyers. So they would come. I know I had to throw that in there. So they would come, the bus would come to get, they'd have a hotel room and they'd actually get it every year. So they'd have the rooms and they'd go to the show and buy stuff. And so, that I know about Ohio, but like my customers are from Indiana, Illinois, all over Ohio, even far away. I mean,
No,
that's the thing.
and I think that's why Coconut Grove does so well. I think that's what St. Louis does so well because they interact with the community through the whole year and
I
they make
think
sure.
Yeah,
I
yes,
I agree. I agree with you. I was just in Greenville and
yeah,
the civic pride was
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah. Isn't that great? Don't
Yeah.
you love it? Look
I mean,
at
it was really kind of amazing. I mean, there were people from other places, but I would say it was mostly local. Like
that's
anecdotally, I could
right.
say that.
You know what's
But more
interesting about that?
so, pardon?
Well, every show that's like that, it has people that want to be there. It's different. Like Ann Arbor, it's all people from, not all people, but a lot of people from, out of town. Michigan and then
Mhm.
places. Greenville, it's all locals that come to
Right.
buy, and they come
I,
to
I will
buy,
say, I will
and they
say
have fun.
With Cherry Creek, you get people from Oklahoma.
Yeah,
You actually, I've
yes,
gotten people who plan visiting their family in Denver around the show.
yes,
So it's not just, I mean, it's plenty of locals, uh, but it's not just locals. People definitely treat it as a destination.
yeah,
Greenville it's one of the fastest growing cities in South Carolina.
yeah.
I'm
And
not surprised.
What's
yeah,
not to like? It's great. I
and
wish
it's,
I could live there.
I tell you, and it's just popping left and right. And the, I don't know if you experienced this or not when you did the show. Um, but you're getting people from Charlotte, I think, which is 3 hours away. You're getting people from Asheville,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, that's
uh,
right, Nashville.
so I mean, it's drawing a bunch of people. Columbia,
Yes.
so
You're right.
um,
And the surrounding burgs,
yep,
Okay,
it's a hot.
so
definitely.
Well,
the question is,
we
and
still
Hmm.
haven't
I
gotten
can't,
in.
I hesitate to bring this up, and it's not a put down, it's just fact. There's a difference. Take the emotion out of it. Birmingham doesn't get any of that. It's my impression. No, no, no. Let me back up. For the first 15 years, that's the way it was. Everybody wanted to do Birmingham. It was jammed with artists, really good artists. People came from all over, and everybody did really well. I don't know, for the last 15 years, um, and it did not start with the guild running it. It started before the guild ran it. Um, uh, there's no. It's like I got the impression that these people are here. This is a nuisance. I mean, I heard people talking.
Hmm.
Listen, when people are you hear people talking that they're complaining because they had to park 2 blocks away to get to the Starbucks because they had to go through the art fair. That is not a positive sign, and that's what I
Right, right.
and I
True.
heard that, you know,
Hmm.
and I don't. My suggestion is to dump
Right down.
the show altogether. But that's just me. Nobody's going to listen to me. So,
Who me?
and the reason why is because the people they're not excited about it. They don't want it like they used to be. For whatever reason, that's the way it is. But it could be, listen, that show could be phenomenal.
But you
Um,
cannot force people to buy.
that's
Barry.
no, you can't force people to come. It isn't buying, it's coming. There's enough people in the area
The
that
show
now,
was.
let me finish this. There's enough people in the area that every street could be jammed with people continually from morning till night on the 2 days. And that's only a fraction of it. There's 20 square miles. Look at the New York Times just did an article on housing prices, and Birmingham has the highest priced homes almost anywhere. They're definitely in the top 10, which means that people that live in those houses have tons of money, which means that and they don't
That's
decorate.
a,
Everybody decorates.
Well, what's the like jobs, like what's the industry there?
Auto industry,
What
executives in
else?
the auto industry,
Because I learned,
computers,
yeah. So there's a
um,
lot of jobs there, or does it seem?
for those,
a
well, they're
white
high-end
collar
jobs,
jobs.
huh?
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not going to discuss this because I'm too involved in the thing to say be kind of impartial. I know my what I say to people is the community is not supporting the show. No matter
Yeah, we said that.
who's running the show, what the hell they do, it's a hit or miss that show. You don't never know who's coming. This year, I think it was the best attendance that I saw in the 3 years I've done the show by
And it's a
far.
and it's a fraction of the way of what it used to be.
And I cannot tell you what's going on. I just know that I because the floor for that show is so low. I'm not taking a chance with that show anymore.
And the
And
ceiling is so high. That's what's so frustrating about it.
yeah, I know that show. When I see that show, it reminds me 100% how I feel about Cottonwood Art Fair.
Really, same kind of thing.
Same kind of thing. Well,
That the community doesn't support it, is that what you mean? Or
yeah, you get a lot of you see the potential. You see that you can make
Mhm.
money, but you never can pull it out. You
I'm,
know,
Mhm.
I had a conversation about this morning with somebody, and they said that they just put it simply that for whatever reason, the people that run the show are not doing what you have to do to attract those buyers, those people to come, the people with the money, the
I
wealthy
disagree with
people,
that because
whatever it is, whatever. And you know what?
if some, I'm going to say that what it sounds bad, but I saw everything that they did because I'm being in the cases about that all year round, and I don't know what else they could have done. What else you can do? They're going to every single local channel, every single put a banner and put in people's faces about the show. They was doing promotion on TV for at least a week before the show, constantly TV ads.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of money in the show.
Yeah, but
I don't
who's
even.
watching TV? Who's watching TV though?
Well, I got
Well,
to tell you, the vast majority, I didn't saw younger people walking the show. Everybody was 50 years and older. Most of the people walking the show. Can I be
so,
wrong about that,
and
Jenny?
it, hey, and you know what's interesting about that, Oscar?
Mhm.
the auto industry and those computer industries and they all hire 30 somethings and 40 somethings that make a lot of money and they buy the houses and they buy the condos in Birmingham and West Bloomfield and Farmington Hills, all those areas around there, and they all need stuff for their homes.
No,
It's
because that's the mistake that you're thinking. That generation doesn't buy artwork; they buy an experience. It's a totally
changed.
different one.
So I'm not just suggesting I actually know how to do this. In fact, I don't know how to do this, but you got to change their attitude. What do you mean?
Well,
Look at,
you're not going to change their attitude because they don't change that mentality until
would
they
you
hit
rather
the
look at
45.
in your own house, would you rather have something from a cheap thing from Walmart, or would you have a
Well,
real piece
I
of
can tell you
artwork?
this. Today I went to a house that's value in what is it in Glenview. This value $2 million, and I was hanging cheap artwork. What is
Yeah,
that
it's a
shit?
problem.
You know,
You know,
Uh-huh.
it's interesting what you just said, Oscar, about people that 30, 40 year olds, they don't want to buy stuff for their house. They want to buy an experience. We have, we know several couples, they're in their 40s, no kids, and they have six-figure incomes. They're, two of them are doctors, and but they would rather take a cruise. They'd rather go and take, a week vacation and blow their money on that experience as opposed to buying art. They love Marianne's art. They always comment on her art, and it's like,
Yeah,
but
compliments community.
they never once had, uh, they never once said, how much would that be? Or, can I get a print of that? Or, whatever it may be. But it's so,
Could you ever say, well, could you imagine hanging a piece like this in your home?
well, we did, as a matter of fact, because Marion painted, so this is
You're
going back.
fading.
Oh,
You
okay. Can you
know,
hear me?
Yeah, you sound muffled.
I am muffled. I got a crappy headset. But
Ah,
so what happened was is Marianne painted a new painting. We hung it on the wall in our home, and it's funny because they came over for dinner like a week later, and Stephanie made the comment, the wife, she said, "Oh, I love that." And I'm always the one who's pushy. Marianne likes the way I push. No, she doesn't. But I said, well, you know, I'm sure there's a place in your home for this, don't you think? And she made the comment, I think there is. But that's where the conversation, she never said how much is it or anything like that. And it was
well,
like,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. So the way that is ambiguous, right? Because then nobody talks about like it costs money to buy and all that. And if the situation should come up again, you could say, when you're interested, you can come over to the house or whatever you want to say, and we'll lay out some pieces, for you to choose from to buy.
yep, that's true.
Because it was like a little too easy for them to like, you were saying, well, how could you figure? And they might be thinking, oh, are they going to give it to us? I mean, I don't know, right?
Right. Yeah.
So sometimes when I teach, I'll put out work, or when I'm wearing something at a show, people don't
yeah.
know it's for sale. It's like we have to tell them these are for sale. And it feels awkward and uncomfortable because,
That's a
you
great point.
know,
That's a great point. Yeah.
That wouldn't be uncomfortable.
but I think you
and
could say,
I'm
Um,
going to.
you've
Sorry.
mentioned how much you love her work. Why don't you, well, if you do a local show, why don't you come over to the whatever show, or if you want to come to our house and make an appointment, you could buy one here. But I think it's important to be like somehow say that it's going to be purchased.
That's a great
And I'm
point.
going to say one
Yes,
thing that
definitely. Definitely.
one thing that you guys are forgetting a lot is just like people talk about. I was laughing, and one person was saying, "All these people right here have a million, $2 million houses," and the guy said that, saw me, you rolling your eyes like I'm from Chicago, an average a cheap home in Chicago starts in $600,000 now.
Great.
A normal house in Chicago costs $1 to $2 million.
No, I know. Where I lived in Oakland, the 700 square foot homes were $1.7 million. I know what you're
Is
saying.
it?
You
So
know, it's so having a $1 million house in this day doesn't mean that you have money. That's the normal.
you have to decorate. It doesn't matter. You have a
Well,
house,
see,
you have to
that's
It does.
decorate.
There's something that Barry, you hit on that, or I'm sorry, Roy, you hit on.
Yep.
Um, People under a certain age or within a certain age group, and I don't remember exactly what it is, um, are now they would prefer experiences over possessions.
Yeah.
But
Listen,
you can't rule them all out though.
who
No,
That's
is,
you
true.
hey,
can't, but it does come into play, just like Roy's saying. You know,
well,
if
okay, hold on a
people
second.
have X number of dollars of discretionary income.
Yeah, but an experience can be buying from an artist because you
An
learn the
experience
story
is
and
the experience is seeing the art piece every single day. That's the ultimate experience.
but yeah, but
Well,
when
no,
they're friends,
not to them. You know, you
You have to put the idea in their heads.
you think that nobody tried to do that?
How do you
You
wait a
know,
minute? What do you think happened like on day one when during the first art fairs? You know, I wasn't here during the first art fairs, but I was definitely here where you had to explain everything you had to really talk your ass off in the beginning because the
That's
concept
irrelevant, Barry.
was
What
new.
happened more than 10 years ago pretty much is irrelevant in the industry right now. And
Except
keep going back to
the
that all the
principles are the
time.
same. Baloney. The principles are the same. Business is the same. You know,
Okay, well,
it's not just
maybe
I
maybe
have
we
a
should get
question
back to
for
that.
you. I have a question for you, Court. So,
Okay.
um, okay, so based on your and Oscar's comments, do you think if young people want to spend their discretionary income on experiences like going on a cruise or going on whatever, doing whatever that means, wanting to do that instead of buying art, will they live in a home with blank walls? Are they willing to do that? Live in a home, an expensive large home with just bare walls?
I can answer you that really easy. I can use my sister. My sister makes over $250,000 a year, and she only have one poster in her whole house,
so
Okay.
and
actually
she
there
owns
are like
three
I'm going to go
properties.
back to a
wait,
conversation.
one thing about the house thing, like the dot-commers I know in like the Bay Area, they would buy these huge homes. They wouldn't even have furniture. They would just have their electronic toys. I mean, I've
Great.
seen it.
I'm
It's
going to
That's
go
like
back to a
great.
crazy. It's
conversation
insane.
that Oscar and I had a while back about one of his clients. Um, One of his clients, Oscar was installing a whole bunch of artwork for. And didn't you say, Oscar, that none of the artwork cost them, they didn't spend more than $500 on any piece?
Yeah, and
So,
I see all the clients that live in a shithole, and I mean in that shithole. There's no been remodeled since the '70s, and the cheapest thing that they have hanging in the house is $250,000, $250,000.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
I love that.
Did you ever see the documentary? I have to look up the name. A postal worker and a teacher, and they had like the most incredible art collection. And they lived in New York City in a tiny rent control apartment. And I'll look up the but they had met like all of these like Jackson Pollock and all of these artists.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it
but
up right
Janine,
now and I'll tell you.
back to what you said about the bare walls, people aren't going to go spend $5,000 for an original painting, a large photograph, whatever. They're going to go spend $300 or $400 on something cheap,
Like at
To go.
Target, like
I
some, I
agree.
mean,
like
if
at
you go to
Target
Target, like,
or at,
Rooms to
you know,
go.
Home
one of the
goods.
other, they're going to go online. They're going to go to, um, one of
Oscar's
the many
website.
online
just
places
just
for
to
art.
just to fill the space. I mean, what I'm saying, oh, I'm not joking about Target either, but because I've gone there just to check this out, because I was curious. I looked in there art section, where they've got mirrors and artwork there. And there's an article written, I can't remember where, but I haven't read it and I want to read it, about how abstract expressionism from the 50s and 60s conquered the art world and is now the basis of the collection of the Museum of Modern Art, conquered people's imaginations, not only Americans, but people all over the world, as far as what is high art, what is good art. And abstraction was is the result of what people think of as high art. And it was the result of the abstract expressionist movement and critics talking about it as far as it being the absolute expression of art. Now, Target
There's a reason for
almost
that.
exclusively carries basic abstract art, almost exclusively. And, they might have one cow, one figurative painting or two, image or two, but it's virtually all abstract art. So what I'm saying is these people could go there and buy whatever is on offer to represent what looks like high art. You know what I mean? What looks like in the people's imagination is high art. And that'll do the service, that'll do the duty they need. Like if somebody comes over for a drink, of filling the space on their walls and not needing to be original, not needing to be anything that's worth anything, but it ticks the box of art.
Look,
That all may be true.
go ahead.
You
Not
know,
everyone's going to buy art. By the way, wait, in the link, I put the
I,
film Herb
yeah,
and Dorothy. It's a documentary. It's a postal worker and a librarian. Their collection is 5,000 like major artworks. They live in New York City. In the documentary, you see how they're friends with the artists. They live in this rent control apartment that's tiny, and I recommend it to all of you because it's a really,
there,
really great film. But it also just shows that as much as making art is partly about passion, buying art is as well.
They even had the artwork. I didn't see the documentary yet, but I heard it on NPR. They even had artwork in the bathroom, like stacked next to the toilet. I'm not
cool.
kidding you. They had no more room in their apartment for all of this great
Mhm.
art that
Yeah.
they just bought because they loved it, which was in the moment when the artists were creating it. But literally, they have it stacked everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think he just died, but
Yeah.
she's still alive.
Okay. And then there's the Rene DeRosa collection. This is in Carneros in Napa, California. And Rene DeRosa, he was a professor at UC Davis, and he was crazy enough to grow Chardonnay grapes in the Carneros region, which is now a very high-end sought-after region. But he collected California artwork, a lot of figurative work, like from the 40s to say the 80s. And so his house, which then turned into a museum, it was a pitched roof, and so it was literally like very salon style, floor to ceiling artwork everywhere. He had huge viola fray ceramic sculptures on the lawn. He had art cars, incredible collection, and I think they closed that museum, and I don't know what happened to the collection. But the point is, this is one individual, and there's a lot of stories like this. Now,
The
um,
the Saks
it's
collection.
pardon?
Do you all know about the Saks collection? They
Yes.
they collected glass. They actually bought two houses to house the glass, and they ended up
Mhm.
donating most of it to
The
the
Young Museum.
Toledo Museum.
Okay,
Oh,
because there's some
Maybe
of it
more
is in
than
the
one.
DeYoung, some of it's in the
Yeah,
DeYoung
really?
Museum
Yeah.
in San Francisco.
This was let's see, 25 years ago they donated it to I know because
Hmm.
I went to the opening. It was really great. You had all these curators from all the museums around the country. You had really famous artists there. It was a really great conglomeration of people. And
Uh,
you know, uh,
so see, it's really cool because these collections, the people collecting it are are just they're just so passionate. There's a Helen Drutt, Drutt from
yeah,
Philadelphia, and she collected jewelry and small sculpture. and she's still alive actually, and she also collects books. Like she has in her home, she has over 12,000 books. But you know, there people who have a she actually had gone to art school, and her professor told her she really wasn't very good at art, so she started collecting it. And you know, there's all different reasons, but the point is, I don't know about you, but like when I sell something, people are excited about it, right? And it's not like, yeah, I'll just take it. You know, it's not like, oh, I need, I don't know, a basic hoop earring. Nothing against hoop earrings, but
Yeah.
it's it's there's more to it when they're buying our work because um they're interested, there's a passion, but um I also think that um you know, people aren't exposed. They don't even know to look for it. I mean, at this show, so when I was in Tucson, I decided, you know, I always want something, a little something to give away. And I see a lot of kids at the artist market here. And so I bought a big bag of rose quartz and amethyst, just little stones. And so at this show, this mom and daughter came, and the daughter really liked rocks, and so I was talking to her about all the stones I had, and I asked the mom if I could give her a stone, and you know, I take out a couple so they could choose, and she was just so excited. And actually, then on the Sunday, the whole family came by, and the mother's mother bought her some earrings, which was nice. But
Mhm.
um, you know, it's those kids, you know, are who are growing up to go to art fairs. Hopefully, they have good experiences, and that they understand how it's very relational, right? We're talking to people, we're telling them about our work. We're not always going to make a sale, but um, they're learning about how things are made and being exposed in the first place. So, you know, I think that it may depend on the community, the region. You know, a lot of kids I talk to have art classes, you know. So, you know, all schools used to have art classes in the olden days. But
Yeah.
so I think that, you know, I can't speak to every show and what it's like, but I do think that the outreach to the community is super important, along with advertising. But also it's like when you have a store, Barry, you build up a customer base. So the first year might not be as good as the
Yep.
second year and that kind of thing. It's the
Yep.
same with an art fair,
Yep.
you know? So I think
You
all
know,
of it is about outreach. We're not just selling products. The show is an experience itself, right? I mean,
you know,
um,
Allison, I'm gonna just kind of tag along on ride your coattails on that comment. So we have these rack cards, and the rack cards have um, three paintings on the front and two paintings on the back or something, and they're all abstract. And little kids will come by, and kids love to collect stuff during the art show, and so
mhm.
I'll go ahead and give those rack cards out.
Oh yes, I remember you talked about how you give them to kids.
And I'll tell them in front of their parents, I said,
Mhm.
you pick whichever one you like the best and have your mommy cut it out, and then you can hang it on your wall or put it
That's
on your
cool.
desk. And that's exactly what you were saying. That's the generation coming up, in
Hmm.
10, 12, 15 years that, you know, the future artists will need those kids to start buying art and appreciate
Hmm.
art. Yeah.
What I used to
So
do, Roy, was I would get cards from Moo, and I would have cards of everything I had hanging on the wall for that year.
Hmm.
yeah,
And then the kids would come in, and I would go, "What's your favorite picture?" And they would pick one out, and then I'd go shuffle through my business cards and go, "Okay, here's a little picture for you."
nice.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Well,
great.
I
Yeah.
need
And
to
they could hang it on their wall.
Yep.
I need to go, but I want to say something. The thing with the jury evaluation and the Alfred review, the people that backed me up, I deeply appreciate the help. The post that the lady did about me got taken down. and I appreciate everything that was done for that.
Yeah, Oscar, that was really weird
I missed that whole
and
thing.
Oh
uncalled
my
for.
gosh,
Sorry.
I missed it too.
I
It's
I didn't see that. I only saw the aftermath.
Right, me too.
I never, it's I was when it started. I look, I sound like that I question. My reaction was that I forgot to put that in there, and then I went back to read the post. Oh yeah, I forgot to put it, and I just tried to explain it, and just when she went nuts on me, uh, and
Well,
though
she assumed something that was not true.
yeah, and I tried to explain it to her as many possible ways, and people tried to explain, and she didn't want to believe me, and I just think that the funny thing is that she's not the artist. The daughter is the artist. She's just representing her. She's her business manager, if you want to call that. And
Mhm.
Sounds like me.
and then she saying she should not be in an art fair group or something like that. Try to represent like she's the artist, and she doesn't want to listen to whatever I was to say. And I never. Last time I saw her daughter and our show was in Old Capitol, Springfield. And quite honest with you, I think it's been more than 10 years since I ever done that show. And it was the only time that I did a one and done for me show. So I know who she is. And she has always been mean to other artists. It's just me. But she said a lot of things. The message she sent to me a screenshot. I blocked her today, and uh, and when I was talking to my cousin about it and my sister, uh, they both said she really doesn't have no grounds to do anything against you. The worst that can happen, she can take you to small court. And I wish she doesn't, because then she's really going to need all the money she needs, because we're going to sue the crap out of
You
her.
know, you know,
The case
complaining
would never make it to court. It'd
her
be
com
dismissed immediately.
her
I know
complaining.
it was like and and this is what I try to tell people. Like it or not, we are in the street. Anybody can photograph your work from the outside of your booth, and legally, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, the only time you can go after a person is if the person is making money out of the copy of your work. That's the
Right.
only time
That's
that
right.
you can
Or
go
yeah,
legally go after the person. If
yeah,
you nothing else you can do until that happens. And most of the time, by the time you find that out, it's so late that it's not even
yeah.
possible to stop it at that point. And 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 quite honestly, we are small potatoes. I don't think that I just don't know. And any artist that says to me, I have money, I know like a regular artist, I can go after you and sue the crap out of you.
Good luck, buddy.
No,
Good
I
luck.
looked at her posting history for the group, and she did have an experience in the past with her daughter where her daughter's work was stolen from somebody in China and commercialized, and they sued it. So I could see why she'd be extra sensitive. But Jesus Christ, the way she attacked you was completely uncalled for. Didn't even like start to ask, well, oh, hey, did you ask them first? Just,
I thought it was
well,
funny.
It's not funny,
The
Berman.
It
pro
It's
was.
not
no, no,
funny.
wait a minute. The
It,
problem is with Oscars, it creates an incredible amount of stress on Oscar that she's blasting Oscar. And I was thinking after I read that, I go, oh my God, I wonder how Oscar
I mean,
feels, you
Oscar
know?
called me last night, and I took the post down on the image evaluation group. But Oscar comes across like he has too much free time.
I read that. I read that. I have to apologize to Oscar. Are you still there, Oscar? I have to apologize to you. You said something last night, and sometimes your English, the what you mean and what I get out of it is two different things. And I thought you said something that like I was really afraid of that you like made trouble for me, and I just blasted you, but I didn't really mean it. I just
Well, the things like when you should not send me that in the show because Karen was next to me all weekend long.
wasn't at the show.
Yeah, you sent one to me in the show. I didn't look at it until the next day in the morning, to be honest with you. And she
I didn't
saw
know. That was for your
it.
eyes only, and it's just a
That's what I
joke.
said. Next time, just call me. Those
It
things
was a
you never,
joke.
never, never, never write stuff like that.
I
Just to let you know.
Excuse me. I wanted to ask Court, did you have your booth shot thing today, the NAIA?
Tomorrow.
Just
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Oh, I thought it was, isn't today the 12th? I thought I read May 12th.
Today is the 12th, but it's May 13th.
Oh, okay,
Wednesday.
good.
It's the second
Excellent.
Wednesday of the month.
Okay, and it's at 1:30 Eastern, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, which I'm
Okay.
going to miss because I'm going to be I'm going back to the house of the CEO from Korean Barrel to work. So anyhow, I forgot Crystal used to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
It was to me the thing that irritated me more it was that I'm reading her stuff and I'm going, you don't have the grounds to do anything with this. I just don't understand.
You just hit a loco button, you know?
you,
Yeah, it escalated so quickly.
well,
Yeah,
wait a minute. It's
Well,
one thing to say something privately to Oscar. It's another thing to post it in a place where a lot of people were going to see it. It's a totally different level of
she posted
obnoxiousness.
it, and the thing that pissed me off the most was that she put it in Chicago and the Art Girls group in Facebook, and it's a group
Yeah.
that I cannot see. I cannot say anything about it. I can explain my point of view or defend myself. And another friend of mine, was a friend of my cousin, told me that group, she's doing defamation right there. That's not because there's no way for you to. There's
Well,
only way to
I'm
tell
in that
you.
group. I'm in that group, so I'll look. The last couple days I haven't looked at Facebook much.
They
So
took it
I'll
down
find it.
today.
Oh, they did. Okay.
They took it down,
It's a pretty reasonable group when somebody's, you know,
and
acts like
it was just I never see. I never, this is the first time that I go on like I should have run this entire thing through ChatGPT before I posted. That's what I was thinking.
Hey, hey, Oscar, meanwhile,
Yeah.
I after looking at your chat GTP or GPT, I want you to do that with my booth. What do you need? You need the picture of the booth and then you
So
need
send me a
images
picture and I'll send it back to you the information.
and images. How about images too?
No, I
Just the
cannot do
booth?
images. You don't want to do images. I can tell you that for sure. You just want
Hey,
no.
yeah.
It's. I know that ChatGPT will this change your image. They try to regenerate it.
Uh,
Uh, and sometimes, and I know for sure, if you try to load nudes, it will not let you do it. And if you load people faces, it will blur their faces. They will look totally distorted. Like
yeah.
I cannot do the street shots. What I saw in the gallery, I cannot do the room markup because in ChatGPT because it will not allow me to do it.
I just like what Chad GTP said about the placement of the work and your booth being open and inviting and warm, all that. That's what I'm curious about.
It's just things that I know everything that they were saying,
Yeah.
and Armando. I did one for Armando. I did one for Parker. I did another one for Kim, and I did one for Crystal.
Yeah.
And and there's some things like the thing that I learned the most about doing this whole project so far is that this and we talk about it, Court. It was like there's a way you set up the booth for jury there's a way you set up the booth for gallery, and there's a setup for selling. And all
I
three of
set
them
I set it up the
are
same
different.
exact way for selling
Yeah,
and for my booth shot.
me
But your
too.
pieces
Well,
are
actually, that's
smaller.
what you're all doing wrong. Just ask ChatGPT.
No, it's just that I just saying that and this is the other thing, because when it's spit out, you really need to just read it and see if it's actually something that you can do. Because sometimes it says things that are moronic, idiotic, flat out wrong. You
Well,
just
Yeah.
it hallucinates. It hallucinates. So you have to be
yeah.
careful.
So, but you
It's
Okay.
have
true.
to. But it's just like a, I've been putting all my big pieces in the back wall, like everybody thinks that that's what you should be. But then I start thinking, like, I know, and it just remind me. I know that the wall that see the more traffic should have the most impressive piece that you have, and then the back wall should be the secondary piece, and the piece the wall left that's the less traffic is the one that should have your supporting pieces. Don't ask me. I know that for positioning stuff. I know where you're supposed to hang, but it's totally, if you're setting up for selling. When you do it for the jury, because the only thing that people see is the back wall, is where you need to put your most
Hmm.
important work. And everything needs to look cohesive for the
Hmm.
jury. And the sales is just,
Well, no, it should always be cohesive anyway. I mean, your work is your work.
it's cohesive, but there's a cohesiveness that for the eye view, and another cohesive for selling, where you have to create a
Uh,
flow and a pause, a flow and a pause, like a create a rhythm. It's like a music, playing music in your booth. It's the best way to explain it.
how about when ChatGPT starts during art shows?
How
But
about
you know
that?
what? I got to tell you this, for the fun of it, I took the
That would be
last
great.
jury set that I used for with Camille and Barry and Bonnie from the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so and the way that you guys decided was the palm tree with the yellow background, then the white with the cranes, then the blue one with the cows, and then the
Yeah.
other one yellow one. ChatGPT say, and never crossed my mind that I should put the yellow one first, put the blue one second, the white one third, and then the last one will be the same one. So it was switch the two and the three,
Uh-huh.
which I don't know if it makes any difference, but I'll see the process. But
Hey,
So, so
Oscar.
one of the things that I imagine with photography you'd consider, I consider it with jewelry. The colors of the stones that I use in the pieces I use for jury images. I try to pick colors that look good together, but also there are like purple and orange are colors that people either love or hate, for example. And so
Yeah.
I tend to not use those colors in my jury images.
I
What about green?
Um,
I
let's
had
see. I think
that's
it
really
depends upon the
funny.
shade.
I don't
I
like
th
green.
I
Listen,
love
but
green.
what
It's my
shade?
favorite
Wait, Barry,
color.
but what shade of green? I mean, there's lime green, there's Kelly green.
there's hundreds of them. Hey, Allison, that's really funny because that's what I brought to
good to
Florida.
you people.
That orange and the orange and purple, and it was probably my worst Florida in years.
Oh, but I'm not saying that they're bad colors. I'm saying
No, the
people have
colors are
strong
nice. They just
opinions.
didn't.
People
They
have strong
didn't
opinions
sell.
about them.
They
No,
didn't
it's a
sell.
love-hate relationship. Either they love it or they hate it.
Mostly hate. So actually, as a segue, now I have blue.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I had blue in Florida, I think I would have been fine. I have different shades of blue. I
Was
have
that
light blue.
Yeah.
This is the more dramatic, darker, or
I think blue is a good color. But I sold a piece that it was like Pepto-Bismol hot pink was the color of the stone.
ooh,
So,
Was
but that I would never put in a jury image.
Did
no.
did Deb's comment on blue being the color of the year influence you? She said
Wait,
blues,
I thought
Deb
purple
did.
was.
She said a couple times ago in this Zoom that I don't know her last name, but Deb, she's got the abstractions with ceramics in them, and she's has
all
done
right.
interior design a lot. And she said what they
That's
say
right.
is this year blue is the primary color that people are gravitating
But
towards, and
have
then
you seen
like
the
neutrals and black and stuff like
well,
that. But
the Pantone color is like white. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
Cloud Dancer, and
That
it's
was
just all
last,
white.
oh,
wasn't that last year's color?
oh, I don't
No,
know.
well,
this
Anyway,
she said something about blues. I don't know. She said blue is a popular color this year.
I hope so.
Well, I have no idea year to year, but I will say aquamarine and lapis, which are totally different shades of blue, seem to always do well. But I mean, I sell orange too, so
Yeah. I had
um,
lapis covered.
Yeah, we
Hey, I'm
used to get
hoping
the
that since I have blue now, that maybe visually in the booth, that the orange and the purple will stand out, so it might be different. Also,
ah,
that was Florida. There's a good chance that, in the Midwest, I'll be selling those other
mm.
colors.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I noticed in Greenville. I mean, I'm wearing not during the show, but like I tend to wear all black, and I felt like I really stood out because there was a lot of
I
color.
like wearing black at the show. I wear black.
Did you do well, Allison, at Greenville?
I had a
Good.
really good show.
Oh,
It was
excellent,
thank
excellent.
you, such a relief. And
Oh
I have
yeah,
to say,
Yeah.
it was such a busy show that I couldn't. I love to walk the show, but there was just no way. I
that's
mean,
Hmm.
right.
I'm doing so few traveling shows. I wanted
Okay.
to make sure I engaged everyone,
Two
and
things,
I did.
two things about that. I wish every show was like that. A and B, getting back in is a problem.
Right. So what's the magic sauce to not getting in, but like the show? I mean, I anecdotally, it seems that a lot of the artists did well. Like, I haven't talked to anybody who had a bad show. Some people did really great. This one person said it was the best show ever, and you
Yeah,
don't know what that means. But yeah, I don't know what that. I mean, there are other shows with lots of people, and this was not like Fort Worth is five deep. It was not like that at all. But
but sales were like that. At the end of
hmm?
the day, the sales were just as strong as Fort Worth, maybe stronger even.
I had like my Friday was the best. It was incredible. And Saturday and Sunday, were
And the
but
people
it
were so
all adds
nice
up.
too.
Mhm. Very friendly, very uh, proud of where they live and all that. And
That's called
so it's
Southern
pretty
hospitality.
right, right.
You know
Pretty
what they
town.
did? You know what they did? They trimmed the street down. Used to be twice as wide.
That's
They
what I've heard.
they took out one of the row from each side and
Hmm.
made sidewalks, and then further up,
Hmm.
past the show where it's hilly. That used to be where you drive in off the freeway into the downtown, and they took the service ramp out, and then they
And
encouraged
they put in the angled parking,
and
so it's
and
yeah, and
restaurants and bars, and because it was hilly, wasn't flat, it had
mhm,
an interesting look, and then there's that bridge.
right with the
Yeah,
waterfall, like right
yeah,
in
it's
town. So some of the artists were on the other side of the bridge, but the bridge wasn't a separation. There were
right.
food booths on the bridge itself, so you
Oh,
could
really?
continue with the show. Yeah.
They extended the
Uh,
show down that way. Oh, that's kind
it
of
was
cool.
just like a block after the bridge. And then we had a little time on Thursday, the first half of the day, and there's a trail that goes through the entire town. And so we're
Yeah.
walking down the trail, and there used to be textile mills and some other types of mills. And all along the river, there were these old mills. One was turned into a food hall or a brew pub or this or that. And you could stop and just get a coffee. It was very pleasant. The humidity was that first day was a little much. Not used to it
You
anymore,
don't know
but
what humidity is until you come to Charleston.
I'm sure. I am sure. But yeah, the humidity, I mean, you just have to lean into the fact that you're going to be sweating and taking many showers.
Yes, absolutely.
But it was a very nice town,
Well,
and so it was a good experience. And yes, it's true. It's like, so I have to apply. They gave out, I don't know, I'm going to say about 7 awards, or I could be wrong with that number. And those people get in automatically, which is nice for them.
mhm.
But no jewelers. Uh, but that's really what we do every year, is
I,
just spin the wheel and hope it lands on our
yeah.
number.
I love the brochure that they do before the show. They highlight people. I don't know if you got in on that, but I did. I loved
Uh,
it. It was great
I'm
because
not
it makes you look
sure.
really good.
Uh,
Your page with you on it and the little blurb. They only do like
got it.
6, 8, 10, maybe 12 people in
Oh.
each one. And they
Hmm.
had several. They had several. And they liked me for the brochure. So that
Hmm.
was great. I was
But
very
yeah, I mean,
accommodating.
travel, we flew, and
Yeah,
yesterday our one of our layovers was 35 minutes, so we were really scared that we were gonna miss the flight.
yeah.
And the flight attendant announced that there's some people that have a flight they have to catch if everybody else could wait to get off the plane, and they let us off, which was really kind.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
we made it.
Please let me in again.
Mm,
I
right.
vol I listen, I volunteered to jury. I wanted to jury the next year so that I could make sure that I got in, but it didn't happen.
Hmm.
Actually, I could have, but I wasn't thinking because they said something about, well, you have to be here. And as it turns out, during the jurying, I was going to be like less than an hour away, and I should have
Hmm.
said, "Oh, I can be there,"
Hmm.
uh, uh, but I
Oh,
wasn't
well.
thinking. But yeah, anything to get into that show. Outside of bribing the judges.
Why? I would bribe the judges.
Well, I would too. If
I
if
think there were
if that
six of
got me
them.
in, yeah.
I think there were six, so which is a lot. Shows usually don't have that many. I think I'd rather they have more, I guess.
What would be your bribe, Larry? What would be the means of your bribe?
Actually, I know a photographer that used to fly around the country and take show directors out for lunch.
Yeah, yeah.
Is lunch really such a bribe, though?
Well, it got him
It
into
works.
shows.
And anything
Uh,
works.
well,
There's always director's prerogative.
I should just take the pack and we'll save this time. Uh, uh,
but
did you get my photos?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good. All right.
I don't know.
Hey,
I
Court,
haven't,
Court, I love your background, the what you've done with the depth with your booth and the images that you worked on subsequent to last year. Whatever you did to make it show depth more is fantastic. You can really see it.
I doubled the original pieces. The depth increments were 1 inch, and it wasn't enough. So the increments on the new piece are 2 inches. And I also increased the number of panels from 12 to 24.
Wow,
You're welcome.
So that's what I did.
it's great.
Hey, Allison, is that documentary on any of the social, like Netflix or anything like that? We can find it.
it may be, I don't know where it is, but you could also, I don't know if you have a library card, you can use Libby. If you don't know about it, it's really great.
Yeah, there's another one too. Yeah.
And it's free.
It's called Herb and Dorothy.
Herb and Dorothy, yeah.
Is that new?
No, it's a long time ago. It's
I
really
think
good.
I've seen it.
You might have.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember.
Boy, that rent control apartment they have with all this work in it, it's crazy.
Rent control in New York City.
if they needed the money, they could sell one piece at a time and live very
That, you know
well.
what? He was a postal worker, she was a librarian. They made money. They lived within their means. And um, they
Yeah,
were friends with a lot of these artists and they bought early.
That's the
yeah.
part I like,
And
being
she
friends
said,
with artists.
I think she's like still working. If she's still alive, she's like still working as a librarian at age 90 or something. She was
Uh,
just like happy with her life and happy with her job. And they didn't want to live extravagantly or have excessive wealth on their own. They just enjoyed art and,
yeah.
had simple lives. So, yeah, it's a beautiful story.
And that's the way it was in Manhattan back in the day. It really was. It was just a great place to live.
I was good friends when I lived in Manhattan. I was good friends with Hedda Stern, who was Saul Steinberg's wife. And she was an abstract expressionist, and her best friend was Mark Rothko.
Uh-huh.
And, she would tell me stories of what it was like during the heyday of the movement.
Hmm.
Um, and there's just so much going on. There was just and in terms of being artists being active and in each other's galleries and sharing their lives with each other, as far as a community and socializing with each other. I mean, I know that goes for different art movements at different times, but it just seemed um, so great, to be living in that moment.
Hmm.
So,
I got to run,
Probably less
everybody. I've
great.
got to be up in Wichita in a little while. And
Okay.
our Zoom tomorrow is booth photos. If you haven't sent me a booth photo yet and you want to get in on it, I will drop my email real quick down in the message.
Ask Chat GPT for a booth
Mhm.
picture.
So I hang real necklaces in my booth on this PVC board with a hanging system that Court uh,
Yeah,
walked me through.
we
People
remember
think they're photographs. People think they're photographs.
So yeah.
that.
So
If you want to get an image in for tomorrow, I need it by about 8 o'clock Central Time, whatever that works out to your time zone.
I'll send you one
Um,
after this meeting if I
Yeah.
can.
I'm on
yeah.
I'm on my way to Belleville, Illinois.
Ah,
And then the Zoom is at 1:30 Eastern tomorrow. And I will
Cord,
be
I can't find the chat here.
They keep moving things.
Is that it?
it's at the
Yeah.
bottom.
It's at the bottom, but when I click
Yeah.
on it, there's nothing in it. And I know, oh, I see it.
Oh,
I see it. I
If there
see
was
it.
something in it, it would have a number.
No, no, it's in there. And so is Allison's. Okay, cool.
all right.
I
I'll see
can't
everybody
find a
later.
way to change my background picture.
All right.
Bye.
See you,
bye,
Court.
Bye.
Court. So 1:30 Eastern time
What time is it
tomorrow.
now? I got to finish packing, or should I say start packing?
And where are you going? Oh, Belleville. Oh
Belleville.
no, you just
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. So we'll see how that's going to turn out. Used to be a great show. I don't know
Mhm.
where it fits in now.
Well, I
So
hope
I
it
will.
goes well for you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm
This is
selling these,
this
I'm
we
selling these
applied.
blue things. I don't know what to charge.
This was our third year we got it. So making the drive tomorrow. You guys have a great week, and see you next Tuesday.
Thank you. Wait, you're saying you don't know what to charge, Barry,
Yeah.
for your work?
Yeah, for these pieces.
Why?
Why? Because
Yeah.
I've never, well, first of all, they're electric fired and
Hmm.
it's less, in some ways it's less work.
Hmm.
The knowledge part is the same.
Oh, they look nice.
I'm learning the pieces. See, I'm not confident. I think they're just okay. Um,
Hmm.
so,
Can you hold one up? Do you mind?
no, let's see. Well, I did hold one before. Let me find a different one. This is a little lighter. I used three different
Mhm.
glazes
Ah,
together. See?
yeah, nice. So, I mean, I couldn't even suggest what you charge, but I guess, you have to base it on other pieces and
Well, I want to charge the same price as I charge for my raku pieces, but
then do it.
it's just with raku it's more dramatic. This is just like kind of plain, you know. Maybe I'm too
Hmm.
much into it. I just have to give it to somebody else, let them sell it for me.
Hmm. Well, it's true, but you're going to be at a show. I mean, you know what really makes a price stick for me is when I actually, you know, have my price tag made with the piece, and it's like, okay, it's that price. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, I mean, if you think it should be less, should it be $20 less, $50 less? I mean,
It'd be more like $100 less.
that much?
Yeah, see,
You
I'm not
still,
gonna, but after saying that, nah, you know,
right. So, I mean, could it
if
be a difference of like, if it's a difference of $60, that might change somebody's mind. If it's a difference of $20, it's negligible.
I don't know. All I know is
Yeah.
I want to sell them at the price where I sell them all.
Oh, okay.
Within reason,
Well,
you know.
could you do them for 60 less than you sell the Raku ones?
I could.
Because I think
I would actually be okay with that.
mhm,
I
maybe
would do
that.
that. I would do that. I would do that.
I
I
mean,
know that
I'm just guessing just as much as you are.
think I can sell for 300,
What do you sell your raku for?
325.
Your
I would make
Raku,
it
your Raku should, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I would make a little bit more of a difference. So if you're going 325 for raku, maybe go 275. I don't
Can you
know.
go 425 for Raku?
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe I'm not charging enough for the raccoon pieces
I
Yeah, I
bet.
think
Yeah.
switch it around and do more for the Raku.
Yeah.
because there's certainly more work. And it's funny. Outside of the United States, raku is really hot. I mean, really considered like great, has some respect. Here in
Mm-hmm.
America, it's Rodney Dangerfield. Nobody does raku because there's a niche market. There's people that
Yeah.
do it and they love it, but everybody else, it's like, they'll
Hmm.
say, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's really gorgeous," and then walk away. You know,
Right. But you know what? They probably don't know about the process. So you have to explain
they
it takes, I
don't.
don't know, three to
I
five
always
days or
do.
whatever.
I always do.
And yeah. So I would go up in price with the Raku.
Yeah, good.
Not really knowing, I'm no expert on this. I'm just
Yes.
saying it
Well,
seems,
obviously, I'm not either. So,
I
well, I think more
recommend
so
that
than I
too.
am.
I mean, I'm a week away from. No, I'm a month away from being totally broke. I mean, not a month. I'm 6 months away from being totally broke and homeless. So, you know, if I could just sell them,
Hmm.
sell a quantity, get the whatever the price is, get the right price.
Yeah. But
Um,
just,
here,
take emotion out and
here's
don't do it at the
yeah,
show either. I
yeah.
see people pricing
No.
at the show. It's like I can't do
No,
that.
no, that's not. No, that would be really. I would tend to be insecure and not be happy about with that.
Mm,
Here's the thing: they're very monochromatic. I mean, every color that I use, the orange, the
mhm,
purple, this, and the next step is to mix colors and have some drama, have the pieces be dramatic. And
mhm,
I'm not good. I'm not familiar with the glazes enough to
mhm,
actually be able to do that. And
mhm.
so I know I will be able to
Hmm.
because I'm driven to do that. I want the pieces to
Yeah.
be great looking.
Yeah.
So
And do you have a little description of Raku firing is in a non-technical way?
verbally,
Well, can you print a little something up in a larger text just to
I
have,
do. I do.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I think that's important.
And I would post that in your booth too.
Yeah.
I would have a little just it doesn't have to be long because people can't read a lot, but just have something
True.
posted on a wall of your booth.
Okay. Now, every show director that's listening to this, you have to block your ears right now. Okay, we ready? These I would did not jury in with with the mid-range electric, only with the Raku, primarily because this is fresh.
Mm.
This is new. I can tell
Right.
you, I can tell you one thing. There was a show that I was kind of worried about because they're kind of, and the director went around and said, "Oh, these are new. These are nice. Oh, you got more
Mhm.
brighter colors." So it
Mhm.
actually didn't matter that it wasn't
Mhm.
exactly.
Right. But you get the point of what they're
Sure.
looking, what they don't want,
Yes.
right? I mean, you know, a long time ago, I remember some shows they wanted to know the range of work you plan, and with only 4 images. So do I have to pick my least expensive thing or what? But what it was is some people were showing up, they have their jury images,
Mhm.
they're showing up with like cheap crap that they make, but it's not representative of their work. And that's what they were trying to avoid. And really, so it's like, I think it's all with any show, I think it's within reason. Um, and so, because my work evolves very slowly, but I always have new pieces, but it still looks like my work,
Yeah.
And so I think that's really the point. It's within reason, and they're trying to protect themselves against people who are um, n not representing what they're showing their
No.
work to be. I mean, a glaze change, it's a different, you're experimenting and playing, and that's important.
Yeah.
But it's more like if you were to just I don't know, make little cutouts and glaze them and put a hole
Yeah.
in it and say, oh, you could
That's
put a string on it and wear it as a
that's
necklace.
right.
That
Yeah.
wouldn't be good.
No, yeah. I would
Yeah.
never do that anyway. That would be
Oh, there was a
imagine.
guy at Artisphere. They weren't just glazes, they were surface design that he used, not paint. I don't exactly know how and they all looked like pods you find in the ground and uh but the colors were really incredible. And uh
You don't remember his name?
yeah, let's see.
I have a feeling I know who you're talking about, but I hope it's
Okay.
not him. I hope it's somebody else.
Oh, all right. Then I won't tell you on this.
No, tell me. I want to know.
Let's see. Oh, it's a very basic name. So it's ceramics. So everything looked like seed pods, for example. So, yeah, they are seed pods. That's what he calls them, even. Um,
It wasn't Bill Kidd, was it?
no. Andy Rogers?
Really?
They're all hand thrown.
Real Andy Rogers?
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Porcelain. They're porcelain. They're
Yeah.
hand thrown.
Yeah.
By layering terra sigillata
Yeah.
stains, glazes, and airbrush acrylics. That's
Yeah.
his surface. Um, and yeah,
Cool.
they were really incredible pieces. So,
He's good.
and I only saw him because he was my neighbor. It's very hard to get out. Like, um, like there's a,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I was
Textures and
surprised there
everything.
were wheel, pardon?
Textured.
Yes, textured. Yeah. I was surprised they were wheel thrown, although they
I'm
were small. They were like you could hold them in your
yeah,
hands.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
kind of headed in that direction.
Hmm.
You know, Textures, layered glazes.
There's certain,
I'm
go
just
ahead.
figuring out how to put the glaze on in the first place
Right,
because
right.
they're all
Yeah,
different.
I thought the surface design, the colors and everything, I thought those were interesting. And yeah, I had no idea what they were because they definitely didn't look like glazes. So, but I wish I got to walk around the show. There was another potter whose work I liked a lot. I didn't get to see it in person though. It Oh, well, anyway, I don't need to bore everyone here with this. But uh,
You know,
mhm.
I generally know all these people because the same people show, we're all competing for the best shows. So, over time you get to
Right.
know it's a little club.
Sure.
I'm sure
Right.
Julie's the same.
Absolutely. Yeah. There were quite a few jewelers I didn't know there. Um, or maybe I just knew them from their work, but had never met because you get a whole East Coast contingency
Yeah, I miss
also.
that.
Mhm.
I used to show exclusively on the East Coast with East
Ah.
Coast people, and
Hmm.
it's been a while since
Hmm.
I got there.
Hmm.
So I went there,
Yeah,
and I miss
I
that. It's a
haven't.
different group.
Yeah, it is. It is. I haven't done much. Well, there was one in Boston that I loved. It no longer exists. Um, but it would be nice to get out east to do a few shows and see a couple people. And
I used to do New York City once or twice a year. I haven't done anything there in
which
years.
which in New York City did you do?
Well, there's WBAI.
Uh-huh. I remember that
You remember that?
station.
That's
The
like,
station I remember.
most of the people here are weren't weren't old, weren't born when
Do
WBAI
you,
existed.
well, do you know a ceramic
That's a
artist
joke.
named, do you know ceramic artist Lynn Mead? She did the BAI show.
No, I don't.
It was at the time, it was porcelain that was hand carved.
Uh-huh.
So like one piece would take her, I don't know, a month
Yeah,
to make.
forever.
Um, but
Okay, what else? There would be not the plaza.
the
Uh
armory
the
shows.
Armory, thank you. That's it. Yeah, the Armory shows. There were
Oh,
two of them,
okay.
you know.
Okay.
In
And then
fact,
there was,
this is one year I got stories for everything. So I was going to do both Armory shows, and
mhm.
there was a snowstorm that
Ugh,
lasted all week. So it was 2 weekends. So the
mhm.
snow hit both weekends. So that was kind of a,
Ugh,
but in
that's
those
a
days,
drag.
shows weren't it was like $200 to do the show, and you could
Mhm.
stay in a hotel in New York for $50. So it was more
Wow.
like a vacation,
Hmm.
in New York.
Yeah.
In
Then
fact,
there was the Lincoln Center
did
show
that
was
one
another one.
also. Did you ever do that one?
Uh-huh. I never got in. I applied to that one. That was
Never
way
got
long
in.
ago. No.
How could that be?
When I first started out, I was making sea glass jewelry. And so my slides had that work and my metal work. Um, and a good, very close friend of mine, she said the thing with the sea glass is you can't pick it out of a lineup. And I think that was really great advice.
Yeah.
And so one day that sea glass will work its way into my current work because I can use it as a stone.
Mm,
When I tried doing that though, like early on, people only wanted the sea glass, you know, like not in a more artistic way. They just liked it in its more simple form,
yeah.
which is interesting because you could have 100 jewelers using a ruby and it's all going to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
So anyway,
don't
Allison,
get,
I've got a question for you.
yeah.
Do
Mhm.
you know Suzanne Q. Yvonne from Weaverville, North Carolina, from just north of Asheville? Do you know her? She's a jeweler, metalsmith.
No,
No? Okay.
I don't, but I've been to Weaverville.
Oh, okay. Okay. I met her at
Yeah.
a show.
is that like
Okay.
Hooterville?
Pardon?
I don't think so.
What did you
Hooterville.
say?
Like Hooterville. The
Dr.
Hooterville Trolley.
Seuss. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah,
Green
no,
All right.
Acres?
I don't.
Is that Green
She
Acres?
she she is she has interesting work. She works in gems like you do.
Hmm.
I mean yours is more unusual, I think, than hers is. Hers is more traditional,
Hmm.
but you know, I don't know. I can see some. I think you would have a good conversation with each other, maybe is what I'm
Ah,
saying. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll look her up.
yeah,
What's her
look
last
her.
name
She
again?
goes by Q Yvonne. Q
Okay.
is her middle name. I mean,
Okay.
she so she goes by Q when she introduced herself to me. She says, "Hi, I'm Q," so she goes by Q.
Okay.
but her business is Q Yvonne,
I see.
EVON.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
Oh, okay. I
All
gotta
right.
go
All right.
pack
All
Yeah.
right. All right.
or
I'll look
fall
at it. I have
asleep,
her
whatever
website
it
up.
is.
Okay.
All
All right, I'll
right.
see
All
you
right.
guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye.
Larry.
Yeah, thank you, Larry.
Bye.
Hey, wake up and wake up and go to sleep.
Yeah, I could go to sleep right now too. So, all right. Bye.
See ya.